Hi, everybody, and welcome back to TV for Real, where reality and scripted TV collide. My name is Mike Bloom, and Emmy is talking about Emmys. The Emmy nominations have been released this week, and have, as they always do, caused quite a stir amongst the internet. And we are here today to maybe give our reactions and look, as reality TV fans, we're always offering solutions to make things better, perhaps lend a little bit of a thinking cap there as well to fix television's oldest awards institution. Of course, I am not alone here. I am joined, as always, or should I say reunited for the first time in nearly a month, with Sasha Joseph.
Mike, I missed you. It's been too long. Oh my gosh. The chaos is really back now. Okay, we are fully dialed all the way up. Get ready, y'all.
Yeah, it's about to get even messier than it has been previously. But we have someone else to join in the messy stew alongside us. And look, this is a guy who has become very well publicized for his reality TV takes. But today, we're going to find out his scripted TV takes. It is, of course, from Survivor 45, the great Brandon Donlon.
Hey, just like the band.
What was that?
We're trying new stuff out. The whole time you were talking, I was thinking of a good intro joke, and then I think I was so distracted with my joke that I guess was the natural reaction. I'll reset. Just
No, that's so funny.
You want to do like the Brandon Donlon? Just tag me up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Again, here comes Brandon Donlon.
Hey. The joke that I had was that, just like season 3 of The Bear, now this podcast is a comedy. Now we're
as we can tell
here.
By you providing your own laugh track on the way into your introduction here.
Yeah, it was a well-written joke, but I'm thrilled to be here.
We're so thrilled to have you. Of course, we always love getting the chance to talk with you, and especially Brandon, again, about a part of the fandom that I am very curious about, which is obviously, again, you are a reality TV aficionado. You're one of the only people I know that will go tip-top toes when it comes to many American Idol runners-up. But from like a scripted TV perspective, that's a little more enigmatic for me. So to start, I would love to go back to the beginning in a manner of speaking. What's like the first show you remember as a kid becoming really, really into?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that would be, for me, Friends. I remember the earliest memory that I have watching TV is with my parents watching Friends on my couch. I remember... my parents have told me, obviously I don't remember fully, but I was laughing very loudly at Ross. I was really impressed with Ross's delivery.
You were the one.
Yeah, I was like, wow, one.
Really. And granted, I'm born in 1997. You figure I'm watching Friends with somewhat consciousness, 2001, 2002, 2003. And I was really into it. And I really thought it was super funny. That's the first show that I remember always really liking. And then TV for me was always an opportunity I don't like people my age. When I was 6, 7, I always wanted to be at the adults table. I wanted to hang out with people who were much older, and TV was kind of the bridge that I had, that there was commonality there. I remember going to my bus stop for elementary school, and everybody would be talking about Lost, right? Everybody was talking about, granted, scripted, Dancing with the Stars, American Idol. And I like being in that rather than talking about Pokemon or my 3rd grade class, with everybody that was in my, cohort. So I've loved watching, and all must-see TV, I want to get a little bit of knowledge in on, just because the opportunity to connect with folks, in that regard. In terms of recently, I mean, obviously we are all living through the game changing in terms of television with the streaming of it all. And now there's every season of a show, between the 2 seasons, there's 6 years, which I think is super cool. Severance came out in what? That's 2022 now, and we're 3 years out.
Oh my God.
And it's not premiering. I think all of that, as somebody who loves TV, I'm super excited to just see where it goes and see what happened. I'm missing a lot of franchises. I haven't seen everything. I try to watch 1 or 2 episodes of whatever, just to see what everything. I want to try everything.
Are you not a completionist? Are you somebody that's I'll check out a couple episodes to get it on the zeitgeist, but I don't need to fully commit?
Yeah, I've never seen I've seen the first couple episodes of Breaking Bad. I wasn't immediately pulled. I also really I don't care for blood. I don't know. I don't remember if Breaking Bad has blood in the first couple episodes. I don't like fantasy. I'm very particular with my shows. I cannot. Pete Holmes, who is a comedian that I really like, has a joke where he says he doesn't like to go into other realms. He doesn't like media that take place in different realms. I like the realm that we're in now. I don't need to be in another realm. I don't relate to dragons. I don't need to see a dragon program. I'm not going to sell meth, probably. Things have been going okay so far.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I just like to be in the cultural zeitgeist. And when everybody is talking and tweeting about a show, I'm in. That's when you can pull me, just because, if I meet somebody and I have to make small talk, my go-to is food or TV. Two things I can talk about quite a bit. So I'm excited to talk about, the Emmys. That's everybody was talking about the Emmys the past week. So I'm excited to talk about who got snubbed, who didn't, who's in 9 different categories, the works.
Yeah, that's such an interesting concept. And maybe it shows, again, the reality TV player in you, that you were kind of trying to pursue the social game in a way of saying, okay, let me make this water cooler talk happen. Because, yeah, I mean, personally, from my perspective, when I usually engage in discussions with people, I usually like it around the shows that we're kind of all mutually watching. Not to say that I don't love to get to know people, but maybe it's just sometimes the thorniness and dramatics and awkwardness that can exist in talking about personal matters or even workplace matters. Sometimes it's nice to just be like, regardless of what's happening, we're all going to sit down in whatever place we live in and watch this episode of a television show for 30 to 60 minutes a week.
Well, that's exactly it. Also, like the my least favorite kind of interaction is when I'm talking to somebody that I don't know. I'm at a party, I'm at some kind of social thing, and I ask them what they're watching, and they hit me with I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. Like those people, like
we can't be friends.
We're not going to get along. We are not going to have anything to talk about, because this is, and you can connect with things that are life, that are lost, that are something deeper than that. But it might start with a conversation about why you liked The White Lotus or something, why you liked a different show. So that's where I've always built my foundation upon, like, what you like, why you like it, and then go from there. So this is my scene.
No, I love that. And you're talking a lot about like community, right? So I'd love to hear your kind of foray into this world. You've done a lot of, like, you've obviously done reality TV, but how do you really see the shows building a community for yourself?
I think that, just seeing the social impact that, like, I love, obviously, Twitter. I'm a big Twitter fan. Like, seeing everybody on my timeline tweet about the same things as they're happening. Like, I just watched House of the Dragon. I've never seen a Game of Thrones episode just because too much blood, whatever. I watched the first episode of House of the Dragon. I was tweeting about, like, I was doing a whole thing. And seeing everybody live react to it, seeing the community that comes with that, seeing, like, The White Lotus, for example. There's no funnier people in the world than the folks that are watching and tweeting about The White Lotus. And every week it just felt like we're all getting together. We're going to watch this thing. And, like, now, like, I feel like we all all of us here kind of missed the boat on that. Like, that doesn't happen as much anymore. Like, the must-see TV, you're not having the water cooler conversation because nobody's at the water cooler. That is the closest that we can get now to that happening. And I love being a part of it, and finding commonality in that. And I've been very lucky that, like, in my lifetime, there have been quite a few of those shows that I really enjoyed, that I got to be part of the conversation. Like last summer, the other two was airing their third, and we learned final season afterward. And granted, all the episodes were, I believe, they were weekly.
It was like a weird, like, batch of, like, 3, then 2, then 2.
Yes. And every week when they would come out, I mean, granted, it was a whole week of people tweeting about how just beautiful the show. Like, it was written so well. It was so funny. It was a lot of very dramatic performances, which you wouldn't expect for, like, a half-hour comedy.
We can talk about that when it comes to the Emmys.
And I felt so, I didn't put that together. They weren't. Oh, that's so funny. I really enjoyed that. And, like, that community aspect of it has been so much fun for me. So I'm excited to be back, to be here to chat about those shows.
I mean, I think the question is about the state of all this stuff is, like, are we slowly reverting to the norm? And whether that is sort of like the giant four-toed statue that is capitalism, but seeing things like, certain Disney Plus doing, like, channels now that will air things, or even the advent of something like Pluto TV, which is basically just what TV used to be pre-DVR, of, like, maybe you could record it, but it's just a channel that's showing stuff. You have no control over what you're watching except just for the subject of content, down to Netflix now saying, hey, the roast of Tom Brady is going to start streaming at 9 p.m. on this Sunday. Check it out. That now, I think that's the problem you're speaking about, Brandon, is that largely from the streaming aspect, it's kind of eliminating the, like, here's your time, here's your date, be there so we can all talk about it together, that HBO is still trying to capitalize on. But it does seem for one reason or another that some of these streamers are kind of trending back to something that wasn't necessarily broken in the first place.
No, and I think that the more that people, like the roast of Tom Brady, I didn't watch it live, but I definitely saw people talking about it. I saw live, I'm on TikTok as it's airing and I'm seeing clips of it that have already 50 to 100,000 likes on. Like it's that quick that the process is moving. So I do hope that we get to a point. I mean, even not to talk about non-reality or to talk about reality TV, but even the shows that we all watch, your Survivors, your Big Brothers, I have so much fun. And that's one of the only things that's still alive. I'm seeing so much. I haven't done, dove into my Love Island USA of it all. But every day at 8:30 here, I'm seeing all these tweets come up about how, what's happening. So I really like that part is super fun. And I hope that people take heed of that and then try to do more experimental stuff. Like I had talked about on this network, the John Mulaney show, Everybody's in LA, which was the weekly thing. That was every night at 9:00. And I made sure that every time, 8:00 or 9, I'm not sure. Every night that it was on, I made sure I was in front of my TV. I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to watch it with everybody else watching it. So I think that the longer we go into this, I hope that we kind of revert back to that, because I think it is special for us, and especially in a time that is not, it is a dark time at the moment. I would really I think that anything that we can do to kind of escape that and think about and consume something else where the conversation doesn't have to be around a very, dark things that are happening. I think that's amen to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really interesting point, Sasha, that should scripted TV be taking hints from reality TV in how they engage their community around a live viewing experience?
I do think so. I think there is something to be said, right? When a show brings in Survivor reference, right? They're like, oh, is that show still on? I can't believe you're watching Survivor.
Speaking of the other two, yeah.
And now everyone freaks out, right? And they're like, blank show just made a Survivor reference. When Ava from Abbott Elementary talked about how she watches Survivor and Below Deck, and she has a podcast about Below Deck. That's amazing. And it feels so exciting because we're still in a chokehold with reality TV. I think for us, we outwardly talk about it, but in my community, in my friend group, people still be watching, and I'm the only friend they can text about it. So I think there is something to say with how reality show just makes your fandom in your face versus I think a scripted TV show is very much like, I'm just enjoying it. And you almost have to be so cerebral about it versus, which is like, meh, I don't care about that. I just want fun.
Yeah. And I think it is kind of like a 1 in a million. Also, Sasha, you just made me think of this, is like to have a scripted show with Survivor has one would describe as like a cult following. I don't know outside of like your Game of Thrones, your Breaking Bad universe, your Stranger Things, the shows that are now having that cult. That doesn't happen often. You can generate something like that. Like even The Bear, which is this hugely successful, popular show. Like there's no The Bear convention that's happening. You're not like,
well, there are bear conventions.
That's a different. Check out the Hungry Games on Peacock.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a bear convention. But I think that you're missing that still. Even the most popular shows sometimes don't have that. Where I think that you get a really lucky show that is really well done, like an Abbott Elementary, for example. Yeah. I can see a world where that is that thing in the last couple of years. But it's it's really you have to have a really, really great product, and a product that not only you enjoy consuming, but you want to talk more about. Yes. Which I think is, and not just hate it. There's so many shows that everybody wants to talk about because they hate it and they want to talk about how it's bad. Like Abbott Elementary is not that.
No, Emily in Paris has basically been given like a perpetual life on Netflix because of that. That again, it doesn't matter what's being talked about as long as it's getting butts and shares, which does lead me to want to talk about the Emmys with a big question. Do awards matter anymore?
I want Brandon to say first as
you go first.
I mean,
I'm not entering the house first. Yeah.
It's nice to have. I sometimes, this is a fun fact about me, is that I will go back and I will watch. I have a lot of acceptance speeches that I really like that pump me up. I will go back and watch those. Robin Williams, when he wins for Good Will Hunting, is super good. Halle Berry, I think when she wins for I forget what she wins for, but Halle Berry,
Monsters,
she
Monsters
wins for-
Ball.
Monsters Ball.
Yes, Monsters Ball. I think it pumps me up. Chance the Rapper, when he wins I think he wins a Grammy for something a couple years ago. He has a really good one. Lin-Manuel Miranda also has a really good one. I like people putting people on the pedestal, especially like individuals. The shows as a whole, I think that, an argument can be made for many years, not just this one, that the Emmy contingent does not necessarily know what the mass populace is watching and enjoying. I mean, again, not to talk too much about unscripted, but the idea that The Voice is getting nominated for the however many straight year of the best reality competition series. I don't know anyone who has watched The Voice in the last 10 years. And if you have, you can't name you don't have, do you have a connection?
Can you tell me one person that has won The Voice without Googling?
This is my wheelhouse. This is the thing I know is who wins competitions. I couldn't tell you a person that was on The Voice. I said yesterday to somebody, The Voice, they could just keep re-airing the same season of The Voice, and the people who watch it wouldn't notice.
That's the thing is that, listen, there are comments that are levied towards new era seasons for like, oh, there's no more themes, so all the numbers blend together. But like, The Voice is doing that too extreme, where it's like, what's the difference between season 19 of The Voice and season 21? I guess the answer is the judges, which is also another reason why like The Voice is kind of this weird talent show that is arguably not really about the talent and more so the celebrities they bring on.
No, and it never seemed like it was necessarily about The Voice talent. I mean, there have been a couple, like Morgan Wallen started on The Voice, and Melanie Martinez is on The Voice. Christina Grimmie, rest in peace, was also started on The Voice. Like, those are maybe it, I think. And The Voice has been on, I think it's on like season 27. Like, and you figure a top 24 times 27. I don't know that math.
Oh, should they do a Blood versus Water on The Voice?
They could. Listen.
They could just put on random people and we would never know.
Well, I think what they do is you cast like who's on the Voice judges this upcoming season. Like,
the thing is,
Reba?
while you look that up,
put like Reba. Speaking of
yes.
put like Reba's cousin on and see if she can guess.
Oh, I'll let claim to fame.
Yeah, I like that angle. And there's no, like, for a lot of these shows also, like, there's no innovation either. And I think that, people, again, the new era is a mass innovation compared to the past, but it's just like, you need that, and the Voice, I don't think has changed the format. And however, they just added, I think, a double seat. Like, it's a country duo. I forget who it is, but they're both on the same button. You know what I mean? I think is it Dan and Shay? That might be right. Regardless, I'm saying a lot where if you in a bubble see that The Voice is nominated for the best show out of, like, Squid Game, The Challenge, I thought was fantastic, is not nominated. You get, The Traitors is fantastic, is nominated. You have, The Amazing Race, a great program. Like, Survivor's not in there. Like, you have shows that, are just, if that's missing, then I don't think you can take the other show. Like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because it's like the industry that I know the best out of a lot of folks. There are some noticeable snubs. So one would surmise there's snubs in every category.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I'm so mean, but Survivor not being nominated is the funniest thing to me, because Survivor, no one takes their show more serious than Survivor.
You're speaking to a man whose season was just snubbed. You're saying this.
No, you deserve to be on. I'm not even disagreeing. I think that Survivor should replace Voice. Yes, but because these fans are nuts. And they take it so serious. Like Big Brother, we know that our show is stupid and we know we are dumb, but we love that dumb little show. You see what I'm saying? But Survivor, I feel like, is taken so serious. Meanwhile, there's naked people on the beach, not eating.
I was clothed my whole time participating, but I can't say that about
people be in underwear. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I find it very funny, and I'm being mean. I know. It's just Survivor being snubbed and people getting stressed the hell out about it took me out. That's all.
I didn't expect it. I really
Survivor
didn't expect
deserves
it at all.
That's the joke, but it's so funny.
Yeah. So again, I forget. I think RuPaul's Drag Race maybe won last year when Survivor was nominated.
Survivor was nominated last year, right? Yes, it was, right? Because Jam went to the Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes. And the little clip that they showed was Maddie Pamela getting her torch snuffed. I remember that, like the little clip they showed. So I understand that, like, RuPaul's Drag Race is a great groundbreaking TV product that has all these franchises all over the world. I'm all in on that. But get The Voice out of there. Regardless, I don't want to keep talking about the non-scripted of it all. I would love to hear, Mike, and both of you guys, from what was snubbed, what should have been in there that wasn't, what is in there that's surprising, who got nominated 100 times. I'd love to hear.
Well, yeah. So really getting into it, I think the big talking point from a lot of the discourse, and we're talking about a day or so after the nominations have been released, is this enigmatic category of what is comedy anymore. Brandon talks about the dark world we live in, where we struggle to laugh even on a daily basis, and that apparently occurs even on our television screens. Where you look at those. I'm looking at those that were nominated for Outstanding Comedy Series for 2024, and I would say Abbott Elementary, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, Only Murders, Palm Royale, What We Do in the Shadows, all comically, tinged, I would say. That the majority of the time, they're trying to tell jokes to the best of their ability. And maybe they sometimes do bring in some, character moments, but I would not say it's necessarily something that, skews on the side of the darker stuff you might expect from the dramas. Reservation Dogs, I've heard incredible things about. I haven't seen, but I also know it does deal with some serious subjects there as well. But of course, the big thing that sticks out is The Bear, which is more so, I think, and something we may want to get into that, listen, I'm sure we have some stuff we want to pitch as to things they could do for the Emmys. And I'm certainly not the first or the last person to say this, but might be in this category more because it is a half-hour show instead of a full-hour show. And this was something that stemmed all the way back nearly 10 years ago from Orange is the New Black, where it started out as a half-hour show. But as the episodes started getting longer, they pretty much, the Emmy community forced it into the drama category instead of the comedy category. Now, maybe that was also a tone thing as well, but it kind of has been loosely implied that it's half-hour versus hour-long, but they still keep on these labels of comedy and drama.
Yeah, and the Bear season 3 is interesting because it felt watching it that they had this in mind, because there are more forced comedic elements in the third season, I think, than the first two. Like, they have the two, like the Fack brothers, it's Maddie Matheson and this other very talented actor, I don't remember his name, but they show up and they have their own. It reminds me of, and this is very niche for folks who are born in the 90s, but it reminds me of the Power Rangers when they had Bulk and Skull running around and doing their side thing. And it's like, it's funny, but imagine if Power Rangers gets nominated for a comedy because of the work of Bulk and Skull. It just doesn't feel that's not what the show, it's not that. I mean, it can't be, sure, but it's not a comedy by any means. And it just doesn't fit. And I'm curious to know, and I don't know well enough, are there shows in the drama category that are funny, that have the comedic elements, that this fits closer to that than it is a straight up comedy? Because you watch, one episode of Abbott Elementary and one episode of The Bear, and they give Drew a Jeopardy thing to pinpoint when a joke happens. I don't Drew's finger's not tired for the Bear. I mean, they have funny quips, but it's not a comedy.
What I would argue is that Succession is an incredibly funny show, but I don't know if people are calling it a comedy.
Yes.
Agreed.
I do remember. Yes.
Agreed.
I found that I did watch, I didn't finish Succession, but I watched, I think, 2 seasons of it. And I was audibly laughing more than I did for most actual scripted comedies. I think that the writing in Succession, incredible. But that feels to me even closer. It's obviously darker subject matter, I think, but it feels much closer to a comedy than The Bear. The first episode, did you both watch the season 3 of The Bear?
No, I have not seen The Bear. So you got to lead us here.
The first episode of season 3 of The Bear, forgive me if I'm speaking out of school for folks that watch this and comment, is the first episode, the first 30 minutes is just like an art piece. I don't know if there's a single joke in it. It's it's beautifully done. It's very beautifully shot. But it's not, it felt very like something else. It didn't even feel like the episodes 2 through 10 of The Bear. It just was a different thing. And it was just, it was a weird tonal shift. That it was just like this, I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is, but it was just this very artistic, it felt like a senior thesis project in a good way. It felt like a very good senior thesis project, but not the show that is everybody cooking and yelling at each other, which is what I like.
That's Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
Which is also a fantastic show.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think of that as Shogun, right? I don't know if y'all have seen Shogun.
I've seen a little bit of Shogun and I've loved it.
So good. That was a show I feel like didn't get enough hype for what it was, right? Brandon, going back to your point about the online presence, I wonder, I personally feel like because we have so many options, these shows get lost, but I can see how Shogun at times could have been funny. where it's like this white man trying to figure out his fumbling way through like, Japan at one point. But if they put that in the comedy, I would have been fighting.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful to watch. And that's what kept coming up when you were talking about this like art piece, because that's how I see Shogun.
Were they nominated for anything?
Yeah,
they were nominated for
in drama.
Drama. The lead 2 actors were nominated. So
Anne
they got
Sarai deserves everything.
Yeah.
The fact that she had to learn old, like I'm so sorry, I don't know exactly what it was, but Japanese, but like from that time period, not just. And she had to like learn how to be a translator. Amazing.
Incredible.
Maybe I'll watch that. I missed that. I knew people were talking about it.
It is a little gory, but not in the...
It is feudal Japan, so...
Yes, exactly.
There will be blood, famously.
Yeah. There's a guy on there that literally has a note, like, take notes on best ways to kill people and die. Like, but he is, like, so funny. Because every time someone dies, he's like, make a note of that to his like servants, because he's like that's a good one.
That's how you kill someone.
I didn't think of that.
That's how you do it on Shogun.
Yeah, like literally, he's like that's a good, because this white man is like introducing like guns and cannons to them. So he's like, oh, I didn't know that. So he's like taking notes.
Oh, that is funny. Oh, maybe I'll try that. I can shield my eyes for blood if it's good enough, and if it's potentially going to win in their categories. I would like to see.
First of all,
so that's one major concern I have with the Emmys, and this goes back a bit to the unscripted category that you were speaking about, Brandon. Is that, look, we're no longer in quarantine, and so nobody has time to watch all of these shows. We are in such a glut of content out there that A, inevitably there are going to be snubs, to Brandon's earlier point, but B, usually what happens with these Emmy voters, and forgive me to broad brush, I think something that's been nice is having all these, performers and shows get acknowledged, and I will occasionally kind of like peek through and say, oh, I'm so glad that Callie Reyes got nominated and Lily Gladstone got nominated. I think they're the first like Indigenous performers to ever get nominated for Emmys. Like, it's cool to have those things peek through, but it comes at the cost of Emmy voters kind of just looking at the shows that were nominated last year in some categories, especially for shows that they aren't familiar with, and are like, yeah, this is fine. I didn't watch any of these shows, so I just assumed they kept doing what they were doing this year. So I'd like to propose something.
Please.
Something out of the reality TV oeuvre, if you will. Can we have a sort of final tribal council? Let's say it's like a week long.
Yes.
Where shows, producers, performers, like, come to the stage. We have like a convention where the Emmy voters attend, could be BearCon. And they have like 3 minutes to make a pitch for their show or for themselves. Instead of, having to basically have these voters assume they're the ones that are going to go check this out and gain the insight to acknowledge what these people are doing. Try to bring the water a little bit to the horse here and say, okay, listen, I know you probably didn't watch this random Netflix show, but here's what you need to know about it, and here's why I should be considered outside of nominating The Voice for the umpteenth time.
Yes.
Now, do they not do anything like this? Is there any equivalent to this?
I mean, the equivalent I would say is like the For Your Consideration campaign, but that's like more of a marketing thing more so than like, hey, this is why Emmy voters, you should vote for me.
This is, and again, I don't want to make it too Teens Choice Awards.
No,
like the public is voting, but I do wonder, like the Academy, the Emmy voters, like, why don't we like do an open casting call for more Emmy voter? Like, let's get it. Let's just get we're not inviting everybody, but send in a video. I know a guy who you can pay to help you make it better. you make it. You talk to the thing and say, hey, I love TV. I watch a lot of TV. I'd like to potentially participate in this process, and we just expand the voting pool a little bit.
Why is Rob not on? Rob, Mike, like Sharon, like why aren't these people on like the reality TV Emmy board?
Well, that's exactly right. It's like, you'd think in our bubble we all watch more TV than anybody that we probably know. None of us are in it. None of us have gotten the call to be in it. Why are we not? Where's the invite? I wonder if that's, because again, you're exactly right, Mike. You have this pool of people who does this every year, who they see Succession on the thing. And granted, I know the final season of Succession was incredible, so this is a bad example, but like they just mark it off, right? Like that's it. And I wonder if if we had a more broad voting pool, if that detracts from,
I mean, I'll talk about another HBO drama. Game of Thrones did not have a good couple of seasons, and honestly, I do not think should have been nominated in Best Drama for the Emmys, despite the fact that it was nominated every year. Why do we necessarily need to award name recognition? Now, maybe this is perhaps bringing in a little bit of like going into a voting booth of it all, of like, oh, whatever it says, I'm just going to press the button and not really have that much knowledge about things. But again, that's why I'm saying, if people aren't going to do their research, maybe bring the research to them a little bit and give them an opportunity to find out about this show. And maybe to your point, Brandon, have the exact same revelation that you just did with Shogun of like, oh, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should go check it out. Oh, this is really good. I'm going to go vote for this person.
Yeah, I mean, Shogun is a great example. I wrote off Shogun because I thought it was blood. I knew there was blood. Like, I know it's a show about some kind of war, so I didn't watch it. But hearing Sasha describe that there's a guy who takes notes, like, that's funny to me. Like, I would enjoy that,
That's the opening segment, is him being like, how should I kill these white people?
And we love that.
Yes.
I would 100% get on board with that. I do wonder also, like, the accessibility of it all. I'm sure. I mean, obviously, if you are in the Emmy voting pool, you have access to everything. But just there's 1,000 different things you have to have a subscription for, and they just there's 3 more of them every day. There's like so I wonder if we gave I'm pushing this narrative. If we gave everybody access, if we gave the people who were voting access, I wonder how different the thing changes, the results change. And I also do wonder, like, folks that are voting based on the legacy of the program rather than the merit of the current season that they are voting for. Like, Game of Thrones is a great example. Game of Thrones, I'm talking out of my ass because I didn't watch it, but if Game of Thrones season 5 is very bad, why are we nominating that for Best Picture just because it's Game of Thrones and it's still on? That or Best Picture, Best Show.
Don't we argue all the time in reality TV that, like, oh, if only the jurors had more knowledge of what the finalists were doing outside of their skewed perspective, maybe they would have voted differently? Is this not an example of that? Are we not trying to show them a little bit of the live feeds, basically, of television at large and trying to have them get a bigger sense of the picture?
So here's what I will say, which also the original, like, the question years ago at this point, right? Like, do awards matter? I will say there is a lack of openness and understanding, because why has Beyonce never won a Grammy for Best Album? And when these people have been polled, the Grammy of, I know 2 different people, whatever, but my point stands, is that sometimes folks will be like, they win too much, so I don't want to give them an award. And that, like, Grammy, what is it? Grammy
bitter voters. Oh,
yeah, voters.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
Yeah. The Grammy voters, have said on record that they don't want to award her because she's won too much. So that's why, to me, that's what I think about. Is like, I do think we need more people. I think we need more diverse people, because all of this like stuff that comes out about these voters is a literal joke, and they make the case themselves for why you need to, like, literally diversify the pool, like, with more people that understand reality TV, that don't do, like, highbrow, oh my gosh, Amazing Race is the only great thing of the big 3 that should be on. Be serious. Amazing Race hasn't been good since when? And I love that show. That is my show. I will, like, literally fight people for that show. But even then, we know that, like, there have been better seasons than these recent ones. That's all. So it's just bless their heart.
All right. Should I suggest something else? This one might be a little more controversial here. Because, look, we know that a lot of these shows we watch in the reality sphere come down to a final 2, a final 3. Inevitably, the competition has to get winnowed. Are we having an issue of, I love ensemble storytelling, but of too many people getting nominated? I think one of the larger takeaways as well from the Emmy nominations is the fact that, for example, there were 7 people nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama. 4 of them were from The Morning Show. For Best Supporting Actor in a Drama, 3 of them were from The Morning Show. And even in a show like Succession, you have a chance of so many people taking up only a limited amount of slots. Should we institute some sort of quota for a show where you can only nominate 5 people across lead, supporting,
Ooh.
and guest actor or actress from your show?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I agree with the premise. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of years ago, right? When Mindy Kaling specifically put this out, right? Where they told her for The Office that there weren't enough space. So she couldn't get a writing credit for one of the, I can't remember which one, right? Maybe it, I don't want to shade the Emmys, but one of these one of these award shows didn't give her personally a writing credit. And she was the only woman of color or the only woman, something like that. And everyone else got a writing credit before her. And there's a whole article about how like she had to petition the writers and all the senior people on The Office had to like write her recommendation on why she deserves to get a writing credit, like, you know, in this award show. So I'm thinking of those people that are getting screwed, but I agree with your premise. So I know I'm not picking a side.
I mean, maybe they're
coming up for me.
In a perfect world, right? It would be a little bit like, okay, maybe, you know, so and so you kind of sit this year out, we'll prop this person up. That would be the perfect way to do it. But I do agree that, you know, if you're doing, again, I keep going back to Succession, but it's like, okay, we can only nominate 4 people. We're just going to nominate the same 4 people year after year. And that doesn't allow time for other people to get cycled out. And it's also tough because do you ask like, okay, you can only be nominated for like 3 seasons in a row and then you have to take a season off because what would that mandate do necessarily?
Like Ted Lasso even, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I propose now. Mm-hmm. We nominate for our show, but it's not public. We don't know how many nominees there are. We eliminated that whole part of it. We have the category. One would surmise it would make the sports betting industry so much. People lose so much money, but it would be so much fun. We don't know who's nominated. They know they're nominated. Everybody's in the room just like normal. They don't. When they talk about the award, they show what are those called? Like a clip montage of everybody. They don't call out names. They just show important things. You throw some red herrings in there. You throw for the Ghost Island promo. You throw James in there. James isn't in Ghost Island. He wasn't even. They didn't even call him to go. They just show the little clip. You do the little clip montage, and then you read, "Oh, Io Adebri won," and then I was like, "Oh my God, I was nominated." And then the next day we can say who's nominated. It eliminates the pressure.
Ooh,
is that anything?
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, this is the classic modern Survivor editing, right? Of like purposely obscuring what the vote is to create some drama. Of like, no, it actually was a pretty open and shut case for Jeremy Allen White to win for the Bear, but we really wanted to make it look like the other people had a chance.
And then you get like Creed Bratton the next day. It's like, oh, I was nominated. Like he can say he's nominated. Like there's no pressure to not say that you're nominated. You just didn't win. You just have to wait to the next day to say it. You can hint at it. You can tweet emojis if you would so choose. Like, but who cares? Like they only say the winner's name. They don't do they show the 6 people and they show the 5 people losing. We just give it to the winner. We don't even, this is a private ballot.
No participation trophy coded. I love it.
It's just an honor to be nominated, and everyone's nominated.
Yeah, literally, all of you. You get a nomination. You get a nomination.
Everybody's nominated. It's that's even better. You know, you can submit a nomination. I'm nominated. This is a great way for me to segue into. I'm nominated.
Listen, when Survivor gets nominated, you get nominated. What do you mean? It's your season.
I'm Emmy nominated, Brandon Donlon. Yeah, Survivor also casting did not get nominated, but Amazing Race. Congratulations to Jesse Tannenbaum. Amazing Race casting did get nominated, which is awesome. Survivor casting did.
But both are great. I like New Era Survivor casting, obviously.
Listen.
No pandering, but no, like it actually though. So no, that's really funny. And also just to clear, Mindy Kaling, it was the Emmys, and it was a producer credit. Which I feel like is even worse.
That is worse.
Like, damn, I worked up to this.
Yeah.
So The Office was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series, but claimed that the Academy told her there were too many producers on the show. So she'd be cut from the list and ineligible for the Emmy.
And what year did this happen?
When The Office was happening.
I think The Office only won the Emmy.
And they lost 2 years. Yeah, they lost this one.
Oh, they lost it anyway. Yeah.
I mean, even at 15 years worth of distance, granted, this is 2010, 2011, whatever. Like the world has changed so much and the industry has changed so much. And I feel like with all of these award shows, there's this pressure to keep it to these finite rules that they made whenever. And I think there's always room to improve and stretch things and make things different, just because you have to keep up with the times to a certain degree. I mean, that's like horrible that would happen. And you would hope that something like that wouldn't happen now, but with the rules in place, it can, and it could happen to really, really, like Mindy Kaling, really, really talented people. So I wonder, like, we got to revisit the rule book or something.
Well, yeah, you talk about the world is changing. Here's another thing that I want to bring up is that The Bear won last year at the Emmys, technically earlier on this year, which is actually a point I want to get into. And people were like, oh, yeah, that's great. Season 2 the past summer was so awesome. But no, because of the eligibility, it was technically season 1 that was nominated and had won. And so season 2 is the season that just got nominated, even though season 3 just got dropped. The issue is that in the past, it was a very regimented TV schedule, right? For the vast majority, all the award baity stuff aired from September to May with very little exceptions to it. Now we've got year-round TV dropping at all times. That makes things so much murky. Do we need like an Emmys halftime show, or like, do we need a winter and summer Emmys? Basically, do we go full Olympics with this?
Listen, I like it. I think that's a lot. I also think that, like, you know, do you want a little guy like the Microsoft clipboard little guy, the little
Clippy.
paper clip at the Clippy at the bottom, being like, we're going to nominate this. Like, just take note when you watch it. And then you can sort on Netflix by Clippy and just the things that are potentially going to be nominated. You have that. Maybe, but it is hard to keep track. I mean, there are shows like I didn't remember Shogun was nominated. So did I read the Emmy nominations with full due diligence? Probably not. But also there are shows that are nominated. I think Mike said one. Palms Royal is a comedy.
Yeah, that's it's the Kristen Wiig show on Apple TV Plus.
So funny.
And Apple TV Plus is just, we all have that. I can't keep up with these things that we have.
I get it for free. Shout out T-Mobile, but that's the only reason. And I must say, I think Apple TV has the best content.
Ooh,
is that right?
Yeah, yes.
I've enjoyed a lot of stuff on Apple TV Plus. It is, out of the streaming wars, it is the least talked about service, perhaps, but I'd say the most underrated, just by pure definition.
I think I had it free with the purchase of some Apple product, and I watched the after show, the after party. Is that what is
the
that
after
show?
party? That's what.
That was
the
very
mystery fun. With all the different genres in it.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Game Night, the 2018 comedy, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I do not have Apple TV Plus, and I've never heard of Palms Royal, and I like scripted comedy. You know, so it's
Ricky Martin's in it.
Oh, Live and La Vida Loca. Oh,
yeah, that's why I started watching, because I was like, what do you mean Ricky Martin is in it?
You were pulled to watch a scripted show because of Ricky Martin?
Because, listen, when you were a young girl in the 90s and Ricky Martin was him.
I mean, Sasha, I have some bad news if you're trying to explore down that path.
I actually do know someone whose parents had to act like when she was little, like had to be like, so this obsession is getting a little, so we must break the news.
And the news wasn't that you are a child and this is an adult person. It was that he's, even in the best case scenario, where you grow up,
baby girl.
It's not going to work out for you. Okay, that's really nice. That's very, that's like a funny story.
You know what? I'm like that Shogun guy. I'm taking notes for parenting myself now. Like, that's how you break the news to a child.
That's very gentle, sweet parenting.
It was very funny.
Yeah, just so you know, even if the stars align for this thing to work out, that you're in the same room, it's not going to happen. That's very interesting. I love Live and La Vida Loca.
Yeah, but no, Palm Royale is a great. I watched Ted Lasso for the first time this year. Chef's kiss. What a show! I cried at the end. I couldn't believe it.
So it's not a comedy.
Well, that's the funny part is I watched the first, I think 3 or 4 episodes. I did not, and spoiler alert for Ted Lasso. Vague spoilers. I did not get to a point where it felt like it was getting sad or you got any insight into Ted or whatever. And I was like, this show's too, like, they make a joke about it in The White Lotus that it's like, we like Ted Lasso. It's just too happy. It's just too
yes, it is.
But
I love that.
I do understand that at a certain point it gets a little bit. You learn more about Ted or you learn more about something. I haven't watched it. So I didn't ever get to that. But it was, for me, it was too happy. I would like to revisit. People have told me that I would really like it if I gave it a chance. So that's on my list also.
So that's interesting because it's the exact reason why people were maybe turned off of Ted Lasso in the latter 2 seasons, because they're like, oh, this isn't really funny anymore. We're getting too dramatic here. They made some choices with the characters. So again, every pot has a lid. But going back to the other thing, Sasha, what do you think about a winter and summer version of the Emmys here?
Yeah. I'm for it. Here's the thing. I think more people would get a chance, number one, which your question before this one. Then second, because I believe you can't, you're not going to do the same people. I would not allow. Second, I think there is some like weird thing, especially with the Oscars, right? Oh, movies coming around at this time and this season equals they're going for the Oscars, minus the other really good movies that should be considered, but whatever, don't come out at the quote unquote right time. That's what I think of, where will it take the pressure off of shows that maybe are taking themselves a little too serious, and we'll just like kind of be like, great, we came out this year, people loved us, and we're having a moment right now. So let us get recognized in that winter, time, or just that summer, because we might forget the show after, and that sucks.
That's the thing. It feels less of like sometimes a celebration of these TV shows, when usually, again, it felt like that yes, it did come back after a lengthy summer away, but it felt like, oh, remember this season of NYPD Blue that happened? This is great. Let's remember it. Now it's like, hey, remember that show that you watched in one weekend back in April, and now it's next September? Well, we're here to remind you about it. See if you remember this actor who just won the award for it.
Yeah. And listen, that's a bigger problem with streaming anyway, but let's not get into that.
Well, that's the thing, is that if it feels, again, to my point of trying to facilitate this issue of like, it seems like that's going to just be a crucible that streaming is going to carry forevermore, that seems to be the convention they won't break. So let's try to make things a little bit easier for the people that have to suffer under that, for, the absent-minded and short-term memory of us to say, oh yeah, okay, I can remember what happened like 6 months later, rather than having to wait 9 to, in the Bears case, it's going to be about 15 months from when season 2 came out to when it will probably get all of its awards. Also should be noted, The Bear, I think, set the record for most nominations for a comedy series in a single year.
Shout out Bear. I need to start watching.
It is really good. I really like it. And I will say, again, spoilers for The Bear. There's a guest star on The Bear, not a normal person that is on The Bear, who has an episode in season 3 of The Bear that I believe is one of the best acting performances that I've ever seen.
Wow.
And if you search this person's name, The Bear, on Twitter, everybody agrees. It is almost 100% approval. It is masterful acting. They will show it in acting classes. It's that good. I don't want to say who it is, but this person is also in season 2.
Okay.
Do you want me to, should I say who it is?
No, give a hint. Give a hint.
Yeah. Not that
Today's
I know.
Thursday, but tomorrow could be a Freaky Friday.
Oh, yes.
And she is just, she's best in the biz. She's so good. The episode from season 2 that she is in, John Mulaney is also in. There's a couple of really big guest stars, and I spoiled that John Mulaney's in it just then, but you should watch that episode, even just in a bubble, because it's like every time the corner turns. I read an article about the folks who made it. They wanted it to feel like it's a Christmas party. They wanted you to feel like you were at your family's Christmas party, where every time a corner turns, you see a new person. And it's like, cool. It's 12 famous people in the same room. It's a beautifully done episode. And it's super, super fun. But Jamie Lee Curtis is in that. And then I said her name. Sorry, everybody.
That's like she just got nominated too, and this was something that, again, as someone who doesn't watch The Bear, I knew it got very well received. It seems like that will carry over into a new season next year when she also gets nominated.
Yes.
15 months from now when she's nominated.
Guest spot nominee, right? I think that's a whole nother thing.
Well, that was the other big constraint they had to put on as well, is because like they were really it sort of is like our legal system sometimes, where basically you push the rules until they break it, of like, oh, this person was in like 3 episodes of the season, they're guests technically, and it's like, no, guest is usually someone that shows up for an episode and makes one big impression, so they usually get nominated. So they had to then institute a rule of like, you could only star in like this percentage of episodes in a season. So again, they're trying to figure things out on the fly, and that's why we're suggesting things. Sasha, I know you came in with some new categories. Maybe it's the categories themselves that need to be livened up a little bit.
See, and obviously y'all know I'm gonna come with messy categories, so I will get like. And my thing is, I think we'll open it up not just for this year. Like you said, Mike, we're no time constraints for the nominations or maybe just one award. We'll see. Okay, so I have a few categories. The first one, most outstanding meltdown over a minor inconvenience.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yes. I don't have the nominee. I feel like we could come up with the nominees together. Like,
I think what we could do is maybe when the actual Emmys roll around, maybe the three of us can get back together and come up with our own. In Brandon's world, everyone who's ever on TV would be nominated until the winner's revealed. But we could try to come up with some nominees after the fact.
And everybody who wouldn't be nominated would be nominated for this category because they would have a meltdown that they were not included in the original.
Oh, that's true. So just keep a camera on them at all times.
There's no rules anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I think a big interesting piece of Emmy news that came out that I didn't realize is that technically Hot Ones was Emmy eligible.
Shut up.
Well, because they do have these categories, right, that they brought in for like online stuff.
I love that because Hot One deserves.
Well, and so that was the big thing is that some people thought that Hot Ones was snubbed because it could have been like, it could have made history as like the first YouTube show to ever get nominated for an Emmy.
It is good. It just seems so weird. Like, it seems like there should be a different, we should put our heads together and think of the award ceremony for that. Jet lag can be in that. Like, we just get the.
Oh, now wait.
Not the Streamies, but yes, Emmy for. Yeah,
the Streamies. I forgot the Streamies.
Yeah,
maybe something for the ceremony is if Hot Ones isn't nominated, have it be represented in spirit. I think as the night goes along, like you curtail the first easy nominees, they have to eat the level 1, and then by the end, the really important nominees have to like walk up, take a big bite of a chicken wing, or if you want to go like an Impossible Burger or something for those that don't eat
or cauliflower,
or cauliflower, and then give their speech. Talk about great TV. That's amazing.
That's immediate in your rotation, right? To pump you up, Brandon.
Oh, yes. I actually wrote in to suggest that to the Republican National Convention. They never got back to me. But
tomato.
Yeah. But I listen, I stand by it. I do love a Hot Ones episode. I think Hot Ones is very, Jeff Probst. I'm waiting for Jeff Probst to call it a Hot Ones.
That's the thing. Like, a Hot Ones opens up your filter as well as your mucus passages. And so I think these people have an opportunity to really speak their mind in a really clarified way, not just read off a preordained list that was given to them in their tux pocket. Have them really speak from the top of the noggin here while there's atomic fire going through their digestive system.
And everybody watching also. It's important that everybody in America would see it. And if you don't see it, you'll see it on Twitter a couple minutes later when somebody says something
for us.
regrettable. I like it. Sign me up.
Perfect. And for me, the outstanding meltdown, like I'm thinking Jen, who was pissed at her Big Brother picture.
Oh, okay. We're extending this for all of TV.
Yes, I'll allow it. But for fun. And then of course, best use of a catchphrase.
Okay. How do we define a catchphrase here?
How do we define
Come on in, guys.
I guess is it something that you say? Is this like the guest actor spot? Do you have to say it a certain amount of times in a season?
Do have to,
Yes. Like Bazinga.
Yes, Bazinga. I think that's a great category.
Or I guess to use a more recent example, EO David from Schitt's Creek could be an example.
Yes.
I am interested in the history of the catchphrase, as I feel like now if you had a television show with a catchphrase, it just feels so transparent that you're trying to brand it. Where I wonder if Schitt's Creek did it so well that like that was said a number of times, but it didn't feel inauthentic. Like I feel like a Bazinga in 2020, your 2024 Bazinga just feels like, okay, they're clearly trying to make merch,
Valid. I like, okay. I'm with it. Unfortunately, I think you're correct. Listen, better writers, come on in. All right.
Yeah. Where's the other catchphrase?
This doesn't count as a catchphrase, but maybe like even a recurring segment where in Abbott Elementary, right, where Barbara will say random white celebrities and think that they're black.
Oh, that's true. I was gonna say, could there be a category for best scene?
Yes.
From a TV show? Like, listen, there's shows and then there's just scenes. Then there's people, being like, these 5 minutes are the best you'll ever see on
Yes.
television, even if the show is hot garbage. Like you could say, like, back in the day of like 2014, 2015, 2016, like Daredevil hallway fight. That would get nominated for best hallway, best scene.
Yes, correct.
Daredevil is the superhero show?
Yes.
Okay. Not an Evel Knievel biopic.
No.
Which that's coming out next year.
I'm assuming it is at some point.
Yeah, that was a ref. It's on Apple TV Plus. Probably.
And listen, I also have one more, and y'all are gonna laugh, but I promise I have a reason. Most unexpected product endorsement placement in a historical drama.
Ooh,
I have
big, but I love this. Talk to me about it.
Okay, why I thought about this because remember the Game of Thrones cell phone?
Oh, and the Starbucks cup.
Yes. See, so I feel like it could be a straight up product placement, of course, but also like I think a historical drama is what, like the Gilded Age, they just be doing nonsense sometimes, and you're just like, what's happening?
They will bring in real like 2024 products in the Gilded. Is the Gilded Age?
No, they don't. I'm just saying, like, because they have, it's supposed to be right. The Rockefellers, I believe. Anyway, they're all like train magnets, and and each family does have like a real person. So and they're coming up with new gadgets that are showing up, like the alarm clock has been talked about in Gilded Age. So that's funny, but also the real other end is the cell phone and the Starbucks cup. So that's why. But I think there are more.
Can we do one for like best needle drop?
Yeah.
I mean, I know nothing about the bear, but Brandon, I know that a certain heralded episode features a certain Taylor Swift song that could absolutely win the award here.
That did make Devin and I, my beloved, we did tear up at that episode, which is it was a perfectly timed. It was so good.
So it's not even original music. It is specifically using an already created song in a very specific moment of your TV show.
Bridgerton sweeping, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bridgerton is just, Bridgerton, I think, is trying to like fill the category as much as possible. Then it's like, I don't know. And that's, again, comes down to the quota. Do you send in too many and dilute your chances? Do you try to go to the final three with someone that you're going to split votes with, or do you try to stand out on your own?
I just love that we didn't even discuss this ahead of time, but look at us. We're killing it.
I also would like to nominate. Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
No, go ahead, Brandon.
I would like to nominate a category.
Please.
It's the best. It's the most sudden guest star. Guest star out of nowhere. Left field guest star. Again, not to spoil The Bear. Season 3, episode 5 of The Bear I saw a tweet before I even watched it. It came out. I didn't watch it quick enough because I saw this tweet at 7 a.m. the day it came out. And it was like season 3, episode 5 of The Bear has the most random guest appearance you will ever see on television. And I was like, no way. Like there's no, so I watched it organically at my TV, and it did not oversell it. It's so strange. It's so strange.
And I like this because it's not saying best guest appearance.
No.
It's just saying the one that like isn't great. It's just so random.
Random. Out of nowhere.
I do think my nomination then will win because it's Meg the Stallion in She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, that's a good one. I was going to also recommend Flea from YouTube was an episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi last year.
That's funny. Okay, yeah. This is the Ed Sheeran memorial for Game of Thrones.
Yes!
100%.
It's just like, I don't know why you're here.
Yes.
But yes, that's what I would nominate. Again, if you're listening to this and you want to talk about the season 3 episode, like just Google it and then tell me about it because it's so crazy.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
I mean, I think the biggest one, because I think this all goes all the way back to what you were saying at the beginning of this journey, Brandon, about the communal social aspect of television. Why is there not an award for like, and maybe again, this is a little MTV movie awards, even though those don't really exist anymore, but like, why is there not a moment for like best viral moment of the year or best meme of the year?
Our brains.
There we go.
Yep. I was gonna say best like Leo doing that at the snapping at the TV moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your best, Yeah, I think we should just make these. Why can't we? Let's just pool all of our money together. I don't have $1 million. I have so much. The difference between what I got and $1 million is $1 million. But we can pool our money and then we just make our own.
Yes.
I didn't even get that. We can pool whatever we have and then we just make an awards thing. We can host it. It would be great.
Make the realies happen.
Realies.
The realies. Well, here's the thing. I'll float this out there. We've thrown out some categories. Let's do what the Emmy committee is too cowardly to do. Let's hear from the people out there. If people who are listening have categories and if they have nominees for some of the ones that we've come up with over the course of this, let us know. And if we get enough together, again, when the Emmys come around, we could hold the realies. We could do our own sort of counter programming and be like, if you don't want to watch those Garbo Emmys and watch The Voice win, you want to check out what we have going on, the underground radio of awards.
I love it. Maybe we go live.
Formal wear. I was gonna say we go live. We're gonna go live at the same time. Yeah. You're gonna have to make the choice of what you want to watch. And we're wearing we're wearing formal wear. We're doing suits and whatever else. I want to wear a suit. Yeah, wear a suit. We should. Yeah, suits.
We'll all wear suits.
It'll be like
another show. Yeah,
we can do suits. The memorial award for suits.
That's you know what? Actually, that is another award. Should we put up there like?
Ooh.
Almost like not like best revived show, but like
the best show from 7 years ago.
Exactly,
best show that's having a moment. Yes,
best show that's having a moment.
I don't know what the next show that would happen.
Lost might be competing with Suits now because Lost. I mean, it's basically going to be like what show's on Netflix now. But who knows? It also might be like a show that has come up through. Like there was a period of time when there was discourse on Twitter about Mad Men for a second, and like people saying that Mad Men was mid, and then it was like, oh, don't you remember all these great scenes from Mad Men? That could be nominated.
Yeah, I feel like not
Housewives shows up on Netflix, it's over for you.
Is that streaming? I guess that's probably on Hulu. I would
It's
imagine.
on Hulu, yeah.
Oh, it's also Peacock.
I'm surprised that hasn't had the revival. I'm surprised they never brought that back. To be quite, I just said this to somebody recently. I've been watching a lot of Glee in the past week. Let me tell you, the first 3 seasons of Glee are like actively very good. Like it's it's funny. The story, I like everybody. The storylines make sense. Granted, did bad things happen since? Sure. Yes, very much so. Are people unfortunately deceased? Yes. But it's just like, if you watch it like from the 2009, whatever, it's really, really remarkably good. And I'm shocked that they haven't rebooted it. I'm shocked that we are this deep in.
Ryan Murphy has a little bit of like, Ryan Murphy kind of behaves towards his shows the way my 5-year-old does with his toys, where like he'll pick something up and play with it for a while, and then he'll like put it down and move on to something else. Of like, maybe I'll come back to this, but no, this is a new thing that I need to get right now. And so he has kept.
And it'll be the same people anyway, so it's okay.
That is just Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, it'll be Sarah Paulson as Rachel Berry, Evan Peters as Kurt Hummel.
Why Jessica Lange as somebody, Sue?
Jessica Lange as Sue.
That honestly wouldn't not make sense. Like that one seems fine. It seems like a one-to-one migration.
I love that.
Why? What is he doing now? What is his thing now?
Ryan Murphy. So they just did they just did season 2 of season 3 of Feud, maybe, which was Capote's versus everyone.
And that's Emmy nominated.
And that's Emmy nominated.
Did the Bill Clinton show ever come out? Did that
happen? That was a while ago. Yeah, American Crime Story.
I read an article about it.
That's Bill Clinton show.
That was 2021.
Oh wow! I loved The Dropout during COVID. We should do let's throw in the Really's favorite COVID show. I really liked The Dropout. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I also like that category as well. And this one will be a little bit more of a wide net of like best catch-up show. Like, what's the show that didn't air this year that you finally started watching? You're like, oh damn, I can't believe I was missing out on this.
I have a name for it.
What is it?
Outstanding achievement in binge watching.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that was gonna be my last one. So we did it.
Listen, Academy. We have an academy. This is a great academy.
And you know what? We are welcome. Anyone can apply.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have a Google form. I would love to make a Google form.
Call Akiva.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't know if that was too niche for this network.
Yeah, can we just fold this into a nap?
Yeah, guys, come on out.
Oh my god, that would actually be hilarious.
They have such
a Renap show. We just did.
They have a wide net over there. We can get their people.
This is a random question. Do you think we should? I'm a little. the way that certain issues were handled in Glee back then, and it's tough. Like, I would even push back further against you, Brandon, and say that like I love the first season of Glee, and then honestly, the more Glee started taking itself seriously, the worse it got. So like once it was like, oh my god, we have an ear to the audience. We've got to teach them about these things. Where I was like, okay, well maybe this is a little bit less fun.
Then why did Will Schuster's ass here anyway?
And like, would we fear going like Peacock Saved by the Bell here of like, okay, what does this scenario look like in 2025?
Well, Glee and American Idol both did this very well, where an episode of Glee would happen on Wednesday night, an episode of American Idol would happen on Tuesday night, and the next morning you would look through the iTunes charts, and like everybody would be buying the songs from both Glee and whatever. And granted, that's a moment in time that we captured via iTunes, but like with the streaming capabilities of today, I don't know why I don't know why there isn't a television product that is monopolizing that exact thing, that we're doing covers of songs and then the next morning you can listen to that cover on your way to work with like a studio version of it. I don't know of who else is doing that. And it like, I loved it. I mean, that's very my MO. I don't know how much it hits for everybody else, but I wonder if we ever see, like, Glee seems like the natural vehicle to bring that back as the singing shows of today. I don't even know if American Idol, like if you listen to the live show on Sunday, if the songs are out on Monday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think a singing competition is the way to do that now. I think you had it with Glee of how that could really work well. And Glee, like they were singing. I mean, I did not watch past season 3 of Glee. I don't know what happens. I think the Gangnam Style of it
they do
bad
style, yeah.
But Gangnam Style.
That's when Marley passes out in the middle of regionals because she had an eating disorder and chose not to eat.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah, it gets. Yeah.
Who's Marley?
I don't think Marley. I know Marley. Supergirl, Melissa Benoist. She joins us, but they bring in a whole new group of people.
Yes.
But then sort of they try to off-ramp the old people, but they still keep them on because they're like, wait, people, they still want to watch the old characters though. And then at one point they just ditch the school and they just keep with the
New
old
York
characters.
and then she was with a guy who was also in the show who's bad guy.
Yes, Blake Jenner. Yes, bad guy.
Oh wow.
I do remember that. But I wonder what that vehicle, how to make that happen. But I'm sorry, with the Gangnam Style front, they were singing Gangnam Style as Gangnam Style was still viral in the lexicon. Like they weren't late. Like they did it quickly. And
you know what? Big Brother should have really learned from Glee. Big Brother is usually like 2 to 3 years behind the trend. Glee would have done like an AI episode back in like 2022.
Oh my God. I mean, it's so funny, like the Big Brother of it all. Like they had like Donnie, the Duck Dynasty guy, 3 years after we thought about that. Like it's like they are very, very, they're very late. Which is is funny. It's exactly that point. But I mean, listen, next year I look forward to like the election theme for Big Brother 27. Because they have a whole like, I don't know if we want to do that. The paint was on set. Don't do this to us.
Stop this.
But I see your point, Brandon. I would say that I think you would have songs available the next day on iTunes, but I would say more is, and I know TikTok from a hole in the wall. I think you have those songs be available specifically on TikTok because I think that's where these songs and remixes I feel like are becoming popular. Where yes, you could stream them, but it feels like some of these songs are being like repurposed. Also, last year, really winner for best needle drop has to be Running Up That Hill from Stranger Things season 4. Like bar none. That is a key example of that.
Well, yeah, and how often do you get a song that happened in whatever year? I mean, like not a TV show, but that movie Saltburn did the same for the Sophie Alex Bextor song. It's like you get to permeate the culture.
Now that song is called Murder on the Dance Floor. Do you listen to it, Brandon, or you have to stay away from it?
Too gory.
Too gory.
A lot of blood on the dance floor, which is a different band, which is an emo band that I used to listen to in my youth, which is also is Blood on the Dance Floor the band or is that the song? Hold a second. Hold, please. We got to go.
I mean, I don't know how you book Blood. No, Blood on the Dance Floor is the name of a musical group.
Yes. I listened to them.
I love this.
I was learning a lot of things from Hot Topic when I listened to them. And that's a stage in my life that is now over.
Never. I hope you wear all black to the release. I hope you should dress in all Hot Topic.
My suit is black.
I want the chain hanging.
Yeah, I had that chain. I had the Converse that like went up to like your shin. I had those.
Oh my God.
Combat boot Converse.
Yeah, I had no idea who I was. It's so crazy the identity crisis I was having as a
Please send us pictures.
But just imagine, I'm imagining now this version of you walking up to the bus stop being like, can you believe what Ross did last night?
Yeah, he got off the plane. She got off the plane. It's crazy. I'm doing my eyeliner. Like you
They
guys,
were on a break.
they were on a break. Yeah. I feel like it's a look. It was definitely it took me a while to find my thing. Then I found my thing, and then we we got to be where we are now.
And he went on the show, which is amazing.
Yeah. And listen, we found a lot of things today. We found a new award show, perhaps certainly a lot of new categories. Brandon, anything else you want to talk about? Any other like random show recommendations you have, considering that it seems like you're trying to do like a little bit of a mile wide and inch deep in terms of covering your bases?
You know what? I'm gonna watch Palm Royale. I think if you haven't watched Palm Royale, you should do that also. I love Kristen Wiig. I don't know how I just missed that she had a show. I watched maybe I did have Apple TV Plus for a long time. I don't pay for it. Can I tell you something? I pay for everything. I pay for all of these streaming services. And a lot of people are using my logins. So if you're interested in starting a system where I use your Apple TV Plus, I can give you whatever you want. This is for everybody.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a co-op going on, right?
It's a co-op.
That's what I do with my friends. Yeah. I ain't paying for HBO, but somebody is.
That is one I'm paying for. I pay for Peacock. I watched, like I said, I watched a lot of Glee. I watched a lot of Friends recently.
Right.
I had a friend of mine. I asked if they wanted gum, and they said gum would be perfection, which is a line from Friends. And then I just watched that season 1, episode 7 of Friends. I know that because I watched it the other day. I'm now on like season 6 of Friends. I'm.
So you were inspired by that one line to rewatch Friends?
It's just really, and I really I was again such a friend.
I noticed you didn't say no to that question.
Yeah, I know. Stop.
Completely
I know the answer.
I have not watched any Friends since Matthew Perry passed away. And I had many tweets about how much I loved him. I liked Ross as a 4-year-old, but I think growing up and finding myself,
this is like wild,
Yeah,
we all have our Ross phase.
Yeah,
we all did it. Blood on the Ross floor. When I was watching, Friends growing up, like 11, 12, 13.
I will also say, by the way, Ross would do that in the bathtub.
Oh. Yeah, that's a deleted scene. I think that's in season 8 or 9.
I watched. Get divorced for the 7th time. Yeah.
Which no Friends reboot. I watched 11, 12, 13, watching Chandler being this very sarcastic, funny, like bumbling guy. Like that really resonated with young me. So Matthew Perry's death really, I think, outside of Bob Saget, I was a huge fan of. I had tickets to go see Bob Saget. He, a couple weeks before.
God.
Oh my God.
I'm a huge fan of both of those people. So I haven't seen Friends in, what was that, last fall? So I'm really enjoying just getting to be back in it, and it feels very good to me.
Yeah.
So watch really my plug is television. Watch anything. It's all good.
I love it.
Give me your Apple TV Plus.
Watch television and then talk to somebody about it. That's probably the best plug of all. Is like, even if someone hasn't watched the show, do what I suggest that everyone in Hollywood does for the Emmys and pitch the show to that person, and maybe you'll get a loyal viewer as well.
And you never know. It could be like Undercover Boss, where you're talking to somebody who is in the Emmy consideration voting pool. And then
imagine.
I'll listen to you, Meth Mazos. Tell me more about that Nicole Kidman show that's on Amazon Prime.
Is that real? Is there a Nicole Kidman show?
Yeah, there was one of the snuff people. It was one of these things where like her and Kate Winslet, like because now also celebrities have kind of like filled out, have moved to TV because it's become more prestige. Now it's not necessarily just your name that will get you an automatic Emmy nomination.
Is that the show that was like The White Lotus but wasn't? That Melissa McCarthy was in? There was a show. It was called
Expats.
That's this show. That's not the show that Melissa McCarthy was in.
No, I don't think so.
What is that show called? That show was fun.
Oh, yes, because I watched a little bit of it and then I fell off. The Melissa McCarthy one, where she works in like an office.
Is she in an office? I think she was in a TV show, Island. Let's see if that Perfect Strangers, the thriller from 2021.
Oh, yeah, I've heard great things about Nine Perfect Strangers. Yeah.
This is how oversaturated this is.
Nicole Kidman was in that as well.
Wow.
I think we make 5 TV shows a year. I think that's what we should do. I'm tired of thinking this show came out 6 months ago and it was. Yeah, we
need to balance the scales a bit. We're going way too fast. Let's put on the brake a little bit and go like, This is a residential area. Let's go like 20 miles an hour for the next couple of years.
Just a couple. Let's pace ourselves.
To not waste
what if
gas.
The show was really good? They're not getting nominated. I'm going to nominate them for the realies. I'm going to do an in memoriam section for 9 Perfect Strangers.
Oh,
I'm just going to tell you what happened.
You know what? Actually, can we call it 9 perfect shows and you memorialize all these shows that none of us watched?
The Bear. Yeah, no, I'm just
Bear. Yeah, I'll go through the hit list from 2020 to
I
now.
love
the
that.
stuff we missed.
Oh, that's
this
amazing.
Show is really good.
Either that or the canceled shows that should have never been canceled, one day at a time. Yeah.
The other two.
The other two.
Well, Brandon, you have a lot of homework to do, but I know that one of the things on your list is always posting some incredible stuff online when it comes to the reality TV community. If people want to follow you, how can they do so? And anything else you want to plug?
Follow me at Brandon Donlon on everything, Twitter, Instagram. Really, it's just those 2 places. I don't post on TikTok. You could follow me there. But I'm like I said, I just, I can't believe I get to have this much fun every day of just being able to do any of this stuff. Whether it's talking about this or talking about reality TV, I literally I cannot believe every day is just the best ever. And it wasn't for a long time, reality TV doesn't solve all your problems. In fact, it gives you many, many more. But I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of any of this. So thank you for listening. And if you need anything, a ride to the airport, probably whatever you need. I'm just, just DM me. I'm just around.
Brandon's perfect, everyone.
Yeah.
Just know that.
Sasha, anything you want to plug this week?
Yes, as y'all know, Taryn Armstrong and I are talking The Getaway, where it's a show. Listen, talk about adding another streaming service. But if you were on Nebula, which honestly you should be, it's $2.
On Nebula sounds like some sort of street drug, like.
Listen, so if you want to see the better, unfortunately, versions of your famous shows, you should be watching the Jet Lag Boys. And they're covering a new show called The Getaway, where, guess what, everyone? It's the traders and the moles, but everyone's the mole.
Oh, that's that show.
It's Oops All Baddies, baby. So check that out. Check our coverage. We're also doing exit interviews with these really big YouTubers. So it's been just a fun show. So check out Taryn and I's coverage on the RHAP Podcast YouTube channel. And for everything else I'm doing, just follow me on Twitter at funsize_04. What about you, Mike?
So, of course, the wish list for Survivor is going strong. And actually, Sasha Joseph, you were my guest this week as we talked about pretty damn messy season of Survivor. San Juan del Sur, a very beloved season of Survivor.
Season of Survivor.
Probably would have won some realies maybe for like biggest meltdown from a person. So be sure to check that out. I'm doing Big Brother coverage, did some Brant Steeles as well. Actually, speaking of scripted television, we did a Brant Steele on Wednesday night of celebrity Survivor fans, and it was absolutely wild. Encourage people to check it out if you are into Brant Steeles. And if you're into reality TV, stick with TV for Real. As next week, of course, Sasha and I will be back with another reality star to talk about something involving scripted TV. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know any reality TV stars that we might want to have on. Again, we cast a wide net here, hopefully like our Emmy voters that we're building out here of people from all different shows to talk about things that they love and why we love TV in general, to echo Brandon's original point. That's going to be it for this week on TV for Real. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, it's been real.